What's up, Norberg Nation? Back with another video. Today we're gonna do a race review. I know I haven't posted one of these in a long time. That's just because I didn't really have any interesting races to review. But after looking at my channel, I realized there's quite a few videos that I have that are pretty interesting races that I just haven't done any commentary on. So today's video is gonna be a race review of the SKUSA Pro Tour 2020 Round 6 at Newcastle Motorsports Park, going the reverse direction. So the raw footage of this is already up on my channel, and I'll link that in the description down below. But if you guys want to go watch that, feel free to go watch that, just unedited with no commentary. But today, I'm going to give you a little insight as to what I was thinking as I made my way through the field. So with that being said, let's get started with the video. So we're starting this race in 14th. Obviously, it's a difficult spot to be in on a start when you're starting on the outside and when the corner, into turn number 1 is so tight. But like I said in other videos, I'm going to try and look to get to the inside as quick as possible. I looked right there, a lot of drivers on my inside, and right here, I went to the inside of the 308 of Hannah, and I was basically stuck in this position of, do I try and advance my position on her and try and, pick up the spot by passing her on the inside, or do I back out of this? What you can't see is that there's a driver on my inside right now. And so I see a lot of guys that, they see an open door and they're like, okay, let me go fill that gap right there. But they're not really taking into consideration that when you go to the inside of a driver, the natural thing for the driver on the outside of you to do is to pinch you down. When you go to the outside of another driver, the natural thing for them to do is to run you wide. So if I go in the middle of a driver who's gonna run me down and a driver who's gonna run me wide, I'm just gonna end up crashing my kart. I'm starting so far back in this race, there's no sense to rush it and no sense to really try and make such an aggressive pass right here. So I'm going to decide just to back out of this and not really try and risk my race this early. It's not really worth it for me. So I back out of it right there, and you see a driver goes around the outside of me. So I end up, I think, losing a position, but really for where I started, it's not so bad. 14th to 15th is not really that terrible. And right here, I see everybody start to stack up on the inside of me right there. And so I'm understanding that, when I see that, it's probably an opportunity to go to the outside. I know a lot of the times many people don't say go to the outside, but there's an opportunity here because everybody on the inside is probably going to bottle up, and I'm going to be able to pick up a few positions just in the braking zone alone going into this corner. So everybody kind of bottles up right there. I go to the outside, try and pinch the driver down on the inside of me. A lot of different momentums going on right there, so I try to pick the fastest lane, and I end up picking up a spot, go to the inside of a driver right here, and I don't really clear them. And that's something that I didn't really like in this first opening lap is, because I touched on it in the last video, but momentum is so key when you're starting from behind because you don't want to lose any of that momentum going forward. And right there, I didn't lose a position, but because I made a pass that didn't go through, it slowed me up, and now I'm having to worry about the drivers behind me trying to pass me instead of focusing on passing him. So right here, I'm going to look again to the inside, and again, he kind of drives me down a little bit, and so that's really ruining my momentum right now. We're losing time on the drivers in front of me, and the drivers behind me are starting to catch up to us. So I'm going to try and make this pass as quick as possible, go down the straightaway, nice to the inside there. And I'm going to go in deep in this corner just so that I can give myself a little bit of a gap and try and close that gap on the driver in front of me. Closing up on the 320 here, and again, it's all about momentum, so I'm not even going to care about setting this pass up. I'm just going to go for it and try and get it done. I'm just kind of trusting the driver behind me that he's not going to pass me back right here. That was just a risk I decided to take because if I would have blocked, it definitely would have, again, slowed my momentum, and I'm fighting the drivers behind me instead of fighting the drivers in front of me. And so again, I took that little bit of risk early on. I decided that's a risk I'm willing to take just so I can run down this group in front of me and close that gap. A lap or so has gone by, and I'm starting to close down on this group in front of me here. You can see they're racing up in front of me, so I'm just trying to look. They went 3 wide, and there was contact, and I was able to pick up 3 spots right there. That's just, goes down to keeping your head up and understanding the situation. You can kind of see early on in that pass there that the driver went to the inside, and he probably wasn't going to get that position just because there's no way that 3 drivers could have gone into that corner. So luckily, I had my head up, I was looking ahead, and didn't end up in that accident, and was able to pick up 3 spots, so perfect. You want to be picking up spots, you want to be moving forward, so that's definitely, a good thing for my race. So another few laps have gone by, and I don't think my tire pressure was the best early on in this race. It definitely took me a lot longer to catch this group than I wanted to, but I was able to close them down with the racing that they're doing. They're moving around quite a bit. So I see right here, driver stuck on the outside. I'm gonna take that position and kind of run him wide on the exit. Luckily, Hannah gave me some room, and she let me by. But yeah, I saw that there was an opening on the inside, and like I said, I've hit on it in a few other videos, but momentum is so key, and going forward is so important that if you ever slow it up, you're just gonna start going backwards, and you don't want that when you're coming through the field starting in 14th. Catching the 300, got a good run on the straightaway. We hit the rev limiter right there, but I'm gonna throw it in deep in this corner. I had Hannah on me, and I know she was pushing me through, so I knew, if I went for this pass, she's gonna probably try and go with me. So I didn't really worry too much about blocking down the back straightaway because I think she went with me into that corner. And so, really just trying to focus, get my head down and get a few more positions. A lot of racing going on in front of me, but considering where we started, we started 14th, fell back a little bit on the start, and now we're inside the top 7 or 8 right now. That's a pretty good race, especially because we're about halfway through the race. I've gotten some speed, and the way the racetrack is working is there's such a strong headwind that the leader cannot check out of this race. So luckily, I'm hopefully going to be able to stay in this race for the long run. I'll be able to be there at the final couple laps. Going into this corner right here on the 341. On his bumper, getting a good run out onto this back straightaway here. I didn't get the run down the front stretch, so I'm going to go right here. Again, a little bit of a late braking for this corner, but it's not so bad. It's not so hard, especially when the corner is such a tight corner. Gave him the hand to just let him know, I've got some speed. Let's work together and let's try and move forward and use my momentum to catch this group in front of us. Luckily, it doesn't take much longer for us to be on their bumper. They're starting to defend, which reels us right in onto them. And I'm going to pay attention to how aggressive this racing is. I'm looking at them and saying, okay, they're already blocking right now, so that's something I want to pay attention to. That back hairpin there where they started to block is not a corner that I really want to go into because of the way everybody's defending. 318 was defending in the last couple corners, so I want to get in front of him. You see the 322 got hit a little bit there in the last corner. He's a driver I'm going to want to get ahead because, again, we're talking about momentum, and I want to keep my momentum going forward. I'm going to pull out right here, but again, he kind of pinches me down, but as soon as he opens the door, boom, back to the inside. I'm going to get that position back because I don't want to fall back and have to deal with the drivers behind me. The unfortunate part is I came out of the corner really slow because it was such a late pass, and here he comes, gets really close in the braking zone, shakes his head right there, and okay, I'm done with that. I'm going back by again. I don't need to waste time with him racing that aggressive and driving that hard this early in a race, especially the pre-final, because he's just wasting my time. You see how much time we lost on the leaders there, and so that was really frustrating for me because I had such a good run and I had so much momentum going forward, and because he made into that pass back, I couldn't risk it anymore. I had to go back through, and there's times where pushing somebody makes sense, and basically what it comes down to me is I need to know who's going fast. If you pass me and you have speed, then it's okay for me to push you. I'm fine working with you, and I'm fine trying to get the go-karts up front, but you gotta have some speed and some momentum going forward. Because he was falling back and he was making mistakes, I'm not gonna work with you, especially after that pass, after I passed him. No reason for me to work with him. He doesn't really care to try and catch these leaders, so let's go back by and run down the leaders. We close back up to them pretty fast. There's 4 guys battling for the lead right now. And like I said before, because the racetrack, there's no real way for the leader to check out. It's just too difficult because of the way the headwind was. And so you see there's drivers going to the inside right there. A little contact in front of me, the driver off. Again, keeping your head up is probably the best way to get around. When you're coming through the field, I've picked up 4 positions just by keeping my head up and keeping out of trouble. The number 2 in front of me, he was just passed, and so I want to get in front of him pretty quick. This corner was a good corner, all week because you don't really lose much time on the drivers in front of you, and that's something you're really focusing on when you're coming through the field because you don't want to leave big spaces and big gaps in between drivers where you're gonna have 2 or 3 laps to close that gap back up. And so that corner was a good one. I was still able to get a little bit of a tow down the front straightaway. Now I'm going down the back straightaway. They're trying to push away right now and kind of stretch out. But like I said, the track is not allowing that. You know, the way the headwind was, you can't push away. You're just pushing dead weight when you get out front. And so now I've caught the 369. We actually passed by the start-finish line. It was 2 laps to go. He looks back, and I know he's probably going to block going into this corner. That's just the way the corner is. You don't lose much time when you block through there, especially if the driver's looking back. You know, they're on the defensive, and they know they're slower than you. And so that's something to look for. You know, when you see drivers in front of you with 2-3 laps to go, they start looking back, expecting the block, especially in that corner. That corner is so tight, there's no reason for me to try and throw a pass in right there. I've had such a good race up to this point. So let's just try and keep the kart clean and see if we can pick up some more spots right here. 2 to go this time by, actually. 369, he's gonna go to the inside. I'm gonna push him right through. I'm not gonna wait around. He was pretty fast, and like I said, he was blocking a little bit, so you know, I want to probably get right back in front of him, and this is where I'm going to go again. I don't want to get down into that back section of the racetrack where he starts blocking again, and then it's just going to bobble us all up, and then I'm going to be on the defensive for the rest of the race. I got a good run out of that back hairpin, so I don't really think I need to block that much. I might run a little bit of a defensive line going into this back hairpin. You know, I might pinch it off a little bit right there. You see I go down a bit early. Just to close the door. You know, I don't want anybody throwing it in too late, but I know that now that I'm out front, I'm that dead weight that's, you know, pushing the air out of the way for everybody. I know I'm the sitting duck right here, and so with 1 lap to go, it's going to be pretty tight, and I know I'm going to have to get my elbows out and really defend this last lap, because it's going to get hairy, because there's no way in this last lap I'm going to be able to check out on the drivers in front of me. Look back right there. Got a little bit of a gap. Don't have to block on this front part of the straightaway, but I'm definitely going to block down into this hairpin. You see right there, I block. And the nice part about this hairpin is if you do it correctly, you can block and not be terribly slow out of there. I look back right here, and I notice that the driver behind me is actually defending because he got a worse run out of the corner. So I didn't really have to defend for the rest of the lap, and I go on to win the race right there. Thank you guys so much for watching and supporting my channel. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up and to subscribe to my channel. Also, you guys, I got some merch coming. I promise I'm gonna get it out here soon. Still working on the design for everything, but it's coming. Make sure to comment below if there's any other videos on my channel that you guys want me to review. I'm hoping to do some more reviews. You know, I got a few races coming up here, so should have a few more exciting races to review for you guys. Make sure to follow me on my Instagram and on my Facebook. That's where you're gonna get any updates on my racing career. Again, thank you guys so much for watching this video, and I'll catch you at the next one.